AITA for ruining at a family dinner because of my golden child sister. I F17 have a younger sister, Emily F16. Even though they don't say it explicitly, Emily is clearly my parents' favorite child. I can understand why they're proud of Emily. She is a straight A student, has the lead roles in student theater, swims competitively, is popular at school, and very, very good looking. I, on the other hand, am probably more plain. I work hard at school, but am not as outgoing or intelligent as Emily, and don't excel at any extracurriculars like she does. My parents always celebrate Emily. We have certificates of her work on the fridge, always have outings and meals to commemorate her achievements, and attend all her swim events and plays. I know my parents love me, but I don't get close to the level of attention, even when I work hard. The other night, we went out with my parents, uncle, aunt, and cousins. We'd just been to one of Emily's shows, and she recently got accepted onto a summer scheme she was wanting to complete. The whole meal revolved around discussing Emily and how proud everyone was of her accomplishments. I don't think I was mentioned once. I'm usually more reserved or just bite my tongue, but midway through the meal I shouted out, maybe if you paid more attention to me, and not just your golden child, you'd have more things to celebrate. Everyone just went silent, and my mom said we'd discuss this when we got home and not to ruin the meal. Emily looked shocked and close to crying. To say the rest of the meal was awkward would be putting it lightly. When we got home, my parents shouted at me for embarrassing them and said that Emily deserves to be celebrated, and that if I did something that merited celebration, I would receive the same treatment. I said how unfair this was, and nothing I do gets recognized regardless. Emily joined in and said she works hard and deserves to be recognized for that, and as the older sister, I should grow up and actually work for once if I want her success. I haven't spoken to Emily since then, and my parents are still annoyed at me for ruining the meal. AITA, first comment, exactly this. This is exactly the reason I have a better relationship with my dad than my mom. She slept under a display wall of his sports trophies and medals every night while completely ignoring my existence because I was more interested in video games and books than sports. My dad took an interest in my interests and asked me about them. He went out of his was to try and make me feel good about my interests and complimented me for my achievements, even if they weren't as big as my brother's. I felt like ST for years about not getting recognition for anything I did just because it wasn't winning in sports until my dad started making more of an effort. As a child, I genuinely wondered why my parents didn't love me like my brother, because they only talked about him. Every child should recognized. Every child should feel like their parents are proud of them. All it takes is taking an interest in your child and saying things like, "Hey, I see you got a B on your math test. You must have studied really hard for a good job." Second comment, I agree that she doesn't have major accomplishments like her sister. I also agree in this instance that she's the TA. I have two kids. One is more sporty, ballet recitals, dance competitions, gymnastics competitions, runs track, etc. The other doesn't do much in terms of tangible extracurricular but likes gaming and gymming. They are both academically sound. I hardly celebrate results. I celebrate effort. We celebrate things like trying out for teams as opposed to getting into a team. Celebrate the end of exams because of the effort put into getting ready for exams rather than the results. Celebrate entering into competitions rather than placing or getting medals. Celebrate 3 months of consistent gym efforts and increasing PBS rather than weight lost. When my husband mooted the idea of changing jobs, we celebrated that too. I decided to take up sewing as hobby, we celebrated that. It's more of acknowledging the efforts of everyone rather than the result. My kids are both amazing at different things. My daughter has more medals as she's great at almost everything she does. My son is awesome at being himself and bettering himself in a way that doesn't win him any medals, but it's no less impressive. He's more street savvy and helps people out a lot in his free time. We celebrate that too, his effort in helping people. My daughter rarely asks for help, so when she does, we celebrate that as well. A celebration doesn't need to be for actual accomplishments only. That would make life so boring and result-oriented. We should also celebrate personal achievements, overcoming trials, effort put in, just celebrate the little things in life. It makes kids more motivated and able to enjoy and appreciate the hard work they put in, even if they don't win medals. When my daughter started running track and doing high jumps, she came in last quite a lot. Now she gets medals in both events. But if I didn't see her efforts and encouraged her through her failures, she'd have quit a while ago, even though she thoroughly enjoys it. She used to do another sport that she was quite frankly awesome in and won plenty of medals. She started hating it as she grew, and so we stopped after a while, because there's no point in winning medals if you're hating all the effort you're putting in. I was a bit disappointed when she stopped, but we still celebrated her decision, because she was putting herself and her happiness as a priority. Both my kids are super supportive of each other and they value each other's strengths and tries to help each other overcome their weaknesses. They're each other's biggest defenders. If Op's parents do pay attention to her, they'd likely find a few things at least to celebrate. I refuse to believe that there is nothing about Op that warrants a celebration by the parents. Third comment, first, it seems you're feeling emotionally neglected. I'm sorry about that. Second, I find buzzwords like golden child overused. It comes from the hierarchy of narcissistic ABSE and the family roles involved. As someone that actually came from a golden child and scapegoat household, it's not just meaning kid that gets attention for their achievements, and kid without achievements. These are roles the narcissistic parent applies to their children in order to produce discord and keep everyone off balance. I was a scapegoat and very high achiever. My parents wouldn't come to any of my award ceremonies for my singing or mesa competitions. For several, I went to state and regional competitions and STEM competitions, nor with my art or my writings being displayed in galleries and published from the time I was 8. Instead, they went to my sister's soccer and softball scrimmages and her dance practices, or just staying at home to play games instead. A golden child has their own emotional struggles that are not obvious to the outsider and often end up with severe anxiety as adults because of it, or they become a narcissist themselves depending on how they internalize things. I would recommend talking to your parents calmly at a later time and let them know that you're feeling emotionally unwell and with some mental health issues. Ask to get some therapy. EMDR can help with some deeper things talk therapy doesn't work for. It sounds like you have some internalized voice that translates praise for your sister as an insult for you. Self-esteem seems an issue too, so since you didn't bring up one accomplishment, hobby, or subject that you succeed in, you deserve to be celebrated, both with others and within yourself. Good luck. I would also recommend talking to your sister too. Her being so uncomfortable when you called her out makes me think maybe she already feels guilty for them passing you over. It may be hard, but remember it's not her fault that your parents are showing favoritism. My sister and I let hate fester a long time before we realized we were suffering the same, just in different ways. Apologize to her, because she deserves to be celebrated. Her celebration doesn't take away from you.